Hi grade 9s, I'm just going to take you through the diagram on page 63 where you're trying to work out how the blood flows through the heart and to the lungs and the body. So if you look at the top here, it said we must use red arrows for oxygenated blood and blue arrows for deoxygenated blood. This is not an accurate diagram. It's giving a general idea of how blood flows around the body. Okay, let's just turn it around. Right, I'm going to add lots of things here, red and blue to indicate oxygenated and deoxygenated blood, and I'm going to use a green pen for other things. Alright, so if you remember, I gave a starting point. Because we've learned about the lungs and gaseous exchange, we know that the oxygen that you breathe in is going to diffuse from the air sacs and into those capillaries surrounding the air sacs, and then the oxygenated blood is taken away from the lungs and towards the heart. Alright, and you can see here how the oxygenated blood enters the left atrium of the heart. Alright, so there are two atria over here. So this one on this side is also an atrium, but it pumps deoxygenated blood. So remember now you're looking at this picture, and it's almost like you're looking at someone and they're standing in front of you. So the left side of their heart is on the right side of the page, or it looks like it's on the right side when you look at them, but it's on the left of their body, and the right side of the heart is on the left of the page, like when someone's standing in front of you. Alright, the atria now contract, and that oxygenated blood passes into the left ventricle. Okay, now you can see here there's little openings, those are the valves. So there's valves between left atrium, left ventricle, right atrium, right ventricle, and even before the blood enters these two blood vessels. But we're going to talk about that at a later stage. Alright, so from the left atrium, the blood is pumped into the left ventricle, and that ventricle wall is really thick because it's going to pump blood out of the heart through the biggest artery in the body, which is called the aorta. Now, that aorta is going to branch into many arteries, taking blood to all the different organs, parts of your body, top and bottom. So well done to those of you who realize that there's a left route and a right route over here. Okay, so oxygenated blood is going to be taken to the tissues of the head, but not just the head. We're talking about the arms and the shoulders as well. And oxygen and nutrients, glucose, amino acids, etc., are going to pass into the cells of those organs, and CO2 and other waste are going to diffuse out of the cells and into the blood vessels. And then all those blood vessels are going to join, and then deoxygenated blood will be taken back to the heart. Alright, so over here, the branch down. Okay, so the artery branches into many smaller arteries, taking blood to the lower organs of the body. Alright, so the aorta branches into other arteries, and they're called systemic arteries. So in other words, they are supplying all the different systems, all the different organs, making up all the other systems in your body. The muscles, the brain, the pancreas, the liver, the kidneys, the reproductive organs, diaphragm, everything is going to require oxygenated blood with nutrients. So that's systemic circulation. So blood is taken from the heart to the systems and back to the heart. Alright, so let's continue the journey here. So, tissues of the body. Well, we could say here tissues of the lower body. So tissues and organs and systems in the trunk. So anything below your heart basically. So it could be the liver, the stomach, the kidneys, all those organs, the reproductive organs, the legs, the toes, the feet. Okay, so oxygen is going to pass into the cells of all of those organs and nutrients. Okay, we know about diffusion, moving from a region of high concentration to low concentration, and there's going to be gaseous exchange. So carbon dioxide passes back into the blood vessels and other wastes, salts and things, and excess water. So coming back from the lower organs of your body, the trunk, that blood is going to be oxygenated and have waste. So now you can see here that there are two major blood vessels that are bringing blood back. One from the top of your body, so it's called the superior vena cava. Superior means from the top. The other one bringing blood, there's one eye here. The other one brings blood back from the lower organs of the body. Vena cava means big vein. So there are two big veins bringing deoxygenated blood to the right atrium. Then the atria contract and the blood passes through the valve into the right ventricle. Then the ventricles contract, and at the same time, blood is forced out of the heart, oxygenated blood or deoxygenated blood. And it should make sense now that the deoxygenated goes to the lungs, and carbon dioxide diffuses out and we breathe it out. So there's gaseous exchange at the lung level between the air sacs and the capillaries that you've learnt about. Now, what we need to add to this diagram is the following. Okay, I'm going to turn the page around. All right, so at the bottom here, okay, there's a little note. It says arteries transport oxygenated blood. Arteries generally, they transport blood away from the heart. A for away, always, okay? Veins transport blood towards the heart. Always. I remember it as VW. Volkswagen. Veins transport blood towards the heart. Arteries transport blood, A for away from the heart. Now it says here, arteries transport oxygenated blood. Okay, veins transport deoxygenated blood. Yes, but there's an exception. Yeah, except. Okay, so let's go back to the diagram. Alright, so let's see if we can find the exception. We can see here that the aorta transports blood away from the heart. Yes, okay. We can see that veins bring blood back towards the heart. And arteries have got deoxygenated blood and veins carry deoxygenated blood. But there's their exception. So, if you look here, pulmonary. Pulmonary means between the heart and the lungs. If you get a pulmonary embolism, you get a blood clot in your lungs. That's quite dangerous. So have a look. The blood vessels bringing oxygenated blood from the lungs to the heart, towards the heart. They are veins, but oxygenated blood. Okay, so that's the exception. Those are the only veins in the body. Oh, I should have done it in red. Those are the only veins in the body that transport blood towards the heart, but it's oxygenated. That's the exception. That's red. Okay, then on the other side over here, artery takes blood away from the heart. Leaving the right ventricle is the pulmonary artery. But this is the only artery in the body that transports deoxygenated blood. So those are the only two that transport the opposite type of blood. So let's go back to the bottom of the page. Okay, we are nearly finished. So arteries transport oxygenated blood, and it's always away from the heart except for the pulmonary arteries. So I'm writing it in blue. Okay, so that you can remember that it's deoxygenated blood. Veins transport deoxygenated blood except for the pulmonary veins. So they transport the opposite type of blood to usual. Okay, and that's the end of my story. And if you just keep going over this diagram and watching those videos, eventually it's going to make sense and it won't seem like it's so difficult. All right.